Welcome to the PVM Podcast. I'm your host, Nick, owner and founder of Project Veteran Muscle Gym and Foundation. Here we discuss topics veteran and first responder related, which include active duty life, off-duty life, civilian life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. PVM's mission is to build physical and mental strength one veteran at a time. That being said, let's get this thing rolling. Here we go. Welcome to another episode of the PVM Podcast. Today we have Bill Ol Yeller on the podcast. So Bill ends up being a friend of my wife's. So we've never met except for about 25 minutes ago.
Yep, that's correct.
So this will be you guys are going to be learning about him real time with me. So so typically everybody knows how this thing goes. So I guess we'll get going on where'd you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Milwaukee on the northwest side. Lived there pretty much my entire life. Grew up there born in the 70s, grew up there in the 80s and in the 90s, and then branched out from there, went to a couple other places. So, but yeah, That's where I grew up at. Yeah,
and then which schools did you go to?
Me, I went to Browning Elementary on the northwest side of Milwaukee. Went to Webster Middle School, and then went to Milwaukee High School of the Arts.
Okay. In any sports or anything?
No, I wasn't in any sports. I was actually in, quite weird, I was in music. I was a drummer for almost 25 years. Yeah. So, but I can still pick up a set of sticks and play whatever.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I had a drum set you'd show everybody. I got one of those. No studio yet for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe one of these days. But so parent, family life? How was that?
Yeah, I had my mom and dad. They were in my life, my entire life. They've been passed away for several years now, but they were. It was a very strange upbringing because I grew up in bars.
Yeah,
a lot of people did around in that side of town. So so I know how to play pool very well. I can play darts really well.
Yeah, that's a good skill to have nowadays. So there's money to be made in some of that.
Yeah, there is.
At least in the leagues, but. Yeah, so did your parents and stuff own bars then?
No, they never did. They knew a lot of the owners of bars.
Okay.
So we would go to my dad before I was born. He was actually a bartender for many, many years. So I'm actually the last child out of 8.
Okay.
So I was the 10 years after my next youngest sibling. I was the oh crap, we got another one.
Whoops. So you're the second to youngest then?
I am the youngest.
Oh, you're the youngest.
I am the youngest of 8.
Yeah, so, man, that's a big family.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of that's baby boomers, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was their job. And they did it really well.
Yes, they did.
So, yeah, especially when you got 8 of them. So, were you close with your siblings then?
Close with a couple of them.
Yeah.
Wasn't close with every one of them. When I was born, most of them were already out of the house. There's only a couple still in the house, so I latched on to my youngest brother. I latched on to him. Him and I, we talk all the time.
That's good.
I see him maybe once a month. We get together for things. I'm really close with my youngest sister as well. She now lives up towards Wisconsin Dells.
Okay.
And I constantly talk with her maybe at least once a week, if not twice a week, just to see how things are going.
Oh, that's cool.
So
yeah, good to hear that. And not a lot of people nowadays really have tight families. So,
yeah.
So that's a plus. So, so where'd you go to high school?
Me, Milwaukee High School of the Arts. Okay. That's actually where your wife knows her friend that I'm actually dating, Natalie.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she went to high school with me. I actually didn't know her until we actually looked through. When I met her online about a year ago, I looked through my yearbook and I'm like, no way, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite interesting. But yeah, I went to Milwaukee High School of the Arts. I played drums for 4 years there, and I was in drum and bugle corps. I was in orchestra, pit orchestra. I played drum set. I played everything that had mallets that you could play. So it was fun.
surprised you didn't get the nickname of Bam Bam.
Yeah.
So, so how was high school? Did you?
High school was actually pretty decent. I was a wild child in high school though, and that's why eventually I looked to something that would hone my brain back into being a normal person. That's why I chose the military. When I got into my just before I got into my senior year, is when I was approached by a couple of recruiters, and then I figured, I need to get myself on a better track.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was a wild child through high school. I mean, I could make friends with anybody. Yeah. But the problem is having all these different friend groups. You have like every type of genre there is, and it's just you get from like the guys that love to do drugs and love to drink, and then there's other ones that are just they're high on Jesus and everything else. Which nothing wrong with that, but it got to a lot of different people and different backgrounds that I got to learn and got to be a part of. So it was a good time though. I enjoyed it.
That's cool. I mean, at least you got to experience all different cultures per se.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a completely different thing because I had friends that went to like traditional high schools. That's more of a specialty high school where you have to have a major when you go in there. Yeah. Me, I was an instrumental major. So just knowing all the different backgrounds of people that are there, that they like there's theater majors and dance majors and art majors, and it was a completely different way of going through school than I was used to on like some of my other friends that went to like a traditional high school where they had sports and they had everything else. We didn't really have sports there. We had track and field, and we had a tennis team, and I think that was about it. We didn't have a football team. So I would always get with friends that were at other high schools and go to their football games. So
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're kind of, like you said, a specialty school. Your elective is your sport.
Yep, exactly. So. That's true.
So is that considered a private school then?
No, it's actually part of really? Milwaukee Public Schools is where I was at.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Milwaukee area.
And that's where I grew up. It's where I went to all their schools, and it was interesting just going to that school. A lot of friends asked me in middle school, they're like, "Why are you choosing to go there?" It's like, well, I like playing drums. Yeah. It's like I like banging on stuff.
That Bam Bam comes back. So
yeah.
So what made you, like, were you planning on college or something? Is that what?
I thought about college when I was going through, but I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted to do. So I thought about possibly doing a trade or doing some type of internship somewhere. So I was approached by the military, and they actually said, well, we've got trades that you can learn in the military, and that's where I actually learned to be an electrician. Okay. So I went into a trade going into the military. And when I came home from my basic training, AIT, in the Army, and I was actually active duty for about a year. I came home and I took the test because I had time in grade of basically your hours to do your trade, so that I was able to test out of a lot of stuff. Some of the guys in the trades, they thought that I skipped levels to where I didn't do like an apprenticeship, but I did my time in military. Yeah. So I did all my being an electrician in the military. So, and I enjoyed that, and that's what I'm still doing today. Yeah. So I enjoy what I do.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, at least you got something out of it. There's a lot of people that go in there for the education and don't get anything.
I did get the education benefit. So I did go and I got an electrical engineering degree. Okay. So that I went and I just got an associate's. I didn't go through 4 years. I just got 2 years in. Yeah. So, and I was like, no, I just want to work. I just want to enjoy work. Want to enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah. So the branch is the Army then.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, because I don't even remember when, like, the National Guard started for part-time.
Yeah, what happened when I joined in 1995, and I went originally as an active duty service member. But during that time frame, they actually had a certain elective you could choose to transfer into reserves.
Okay.
And I did that after about a year and a half. I said, well, I want to transfer into reserves. I want to go to school when I come home. I want to get myself established in my career, but also do my duty for the country. So, and that's what I ended up doing. So I came home, did all that, went through college, graduated with an associate's degree, and just started off in doing trade right away.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So, it's at least you got to actually do what you want.
Yeah.
You didn't get stuck in some
I know,
weird logistical
some people
position.
get stuck in things, and it's. I was very happy that I was able to get into something that I like doing and I enjoy doing.
Yeah. So how long you were in the reserves working as an electrician full time then?
Yes.
How long did that go on?
I actually was in the reserves. When I transferred to the reserves, I was in till my end date was supposed to be 2003 from the reserves. But they ended up during that time was stop loss. So they kept me for another 2 years till October of 2005.
Yeah.
And during that time frame, we also had the beginning of the Iraq War that started.
Yeah.
So in late 2002 is when they activated my company I was with, and they sent me over with that. So, but prior to that time frame, while I was in the reserves, I actually changed duty modes a couple of times, and I changed companies a couple of times because I wanted to go through. I love training people, so I went and I was a drill sergeant for 2 years. I went through drill sergeant training on Silver Spring Drive in Milwaukee. They actually have a reserve drill sergeant unit there. So I went and I transferred to them for about 2 years, went and did my training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for actually the active duty drill sergeants go there for like about a 6-month time frame, and they sent me there for 6 months. So I did that, and then I was just doing training duty after that until I could see why they get so stressed and why those guys get a little bit crazy, because I just finally said, no, I want to transfer back to an engineer company or something like that. This is a little stressful with how you guys deal with this stuff. So I can understand some of you guys are really gung-ho about this, but I'm like, no, I got to transfer out, got to go back to an engineer company.
Not quite the kind of training people you were
signed
up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little... I'm sure a lot of the recruits that come in are very fluidly moldable at that time.
Yeah, exactly. When it hit the time that I was doing that was around 98 to 99, and some of the recruits that were coming in were just, to me, they started off with those cards, the stress cards. I'm like, what the hell is a stress card?
I never heard of it.
And then they one of them tried pulling one on me. I'm like, oh, you got jokes. Okay. Okay, I'll give you your time that you're allotted, but as soon as that ends, well, you're mine.
Yeah. So what was a stress card then?
Stress card is pretty much when they felt like they were being too, if you were getting down too hard on them, they got like a certain time frame that they could say, well, no, you can't mess with them. Okay, no problem. I'll give you your time.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, wait till you get back.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you your time. Just wait until you get back. It's going to be like 3 times worse.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they ended up just nixing that whole thing when they tried that.
Well, yeah, now they just have safe spaces.
Yes, exactly. Now they it's ridiculous the stuff that the guys now are able to get. And I've seen and I know people that have gone in within the past 10 years and they're allowed to have cell phones with them now. I'm like,
it's weird.
Like, I had to wait for like almost a week to get to a payphone to call my parents.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a different world now.
Oh yeah, completely different world.
I mean, it looks like recruiting and stuff is way up right now.
Yeah, it is.
Since the new administration has come in and kind of depussified it just a little bit.
Yep.
So at least they see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
We definitely need a lot more.
Oh yeah.
We're super short-handed. So.
I know. I keep my I have a 16-year-old son, and I keep talking with him saying that, well, maybe you might want to look into that, because right now he's thinking of going into a trade when he gets out of school. And I said, okay, you want to learn a trade? It's like the easiest way and not quickest or most safe way, but one of the easiest ways and the most lucrative ways, go in the military. You can learn a trade in the military. Yeah,
because you're not really fighting for the position with other civilians in your area. They kind of stick you wherever wherever they need you. So which there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what I told them.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. So just hopefully the world doesn't get real kinetic.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping not. But I still understand that if he wants to go in, I'll support him, no problem.
Yeah.
But I also think that most kids that either want to try and learn something and are not too sure about it, or want to get some type of discipline or learn to get a skill or get a little bit of extra cash, go in the military.
Yeah.
And do it for at least a couple of years. Yeah. And so, and I tell people that all the time. And I wasn't telling them that during the last administration. I kept telling them, don't go in now. Yeah. Don't go in now. Just wait.
Just wait a little bit. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. Just because, it's, you sign up for something and then they let you do that. And I guess it would be more safe if you're going in there for a career instead of being like, I just want to be infantry.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of thing.
Yep.
So.
And I know some guys, they just want to go in because they just want to either fight or learn how to use weapons. Yeah. I understand that. Sure, that's not a problem. Yeah. One of my job skills, because when I got into the reserves, they actually trained me in a couple of other training skills. They sent me back for 31 uniform school, which is signal support systems. And they taught me how to use all different radios and SINGAR's radios and how to repair them and how to set them up and set up satellites and stuff like that. So learn that skill. But then I also said, well, if I'm going to drill sergeant school, they need me to get into a combat MOS. Yeah. So they sent me to infantryman school and they sent me to combat engineer school. So I know how to land nav like crazy, and I can blow up stuff no problem.
Two fun things. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that translates to civilian life, but
doesn't really.
You don't really
unless you're in
to.
Demolition.
Yeah. Which would be a fun job.
Yeah, it would be.
Blowing up buildings. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But we'll rewind back a little bit. So you're in the reserves right around when 9/11 happened. Do you remember where you were?
Yes, I would. Yes, I do. When 9/11 that day occurred, I was actually working for a company, and I actually was working for AT&T at the time as a splicing a splicer, a cable splicer for them. And I was down in a manhole in Wauwatosa, and we heard over the radio commotion, because one of our guys brought a radio with him to listen, and we heard a commotion over the radio. And then once the first plane hit, we heard the commotion come over that there was a big mayday coming over the radio. Then we had three guys working in a crew, and one of our guys, he had a portable TV at the time in 2001.
I remember those.
Yep, he had a tiny portable TV. And I'm like, okay, so he brings that out, and we're sitting there watching the newscast on, I don't remember what station it was on, but we were watching it, and we watched the second plane hit while we were standing there. And I'm like, I looked at him, I was like, did you just see that? And then they rewound it again, and then they showed it again. Yeah. That, yes, that second plane hit. And it freaked all of us out. Our boss actually came out to us that day, and he talked to all of us within that hour. And he's like, if you guys want to take the day off, take the day off, go home, go be with your family, go do what you need to do. So, and a few of us were like, yeah, I need to get home to my family. Yeah. So, and yeah, that was a very stressful day, because as soon as that happened, it's like everybody was on high alert everywhere we went. It was like when I was headed home, and there was there were sirens and freaking police cars everywhere. They didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
You know, and some people were freaking out on the streets. I mean, it was very chaotic.
Yeah, I was still in high school at that time, so it was a little less stressful for us because we had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well, we're done with school. Everybody's going to go home. And then it didn't really happen like it did for everybody else, or especially like you, because you're all working. So.
Yeah, I was all working at that time. It was crazy when it happened. So I do remember that day vividly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think everybody does. So,
and then after that, just the aftermath of all the people that came together after that, and society as a whole came together after that.
Yeah.
But I knew that something was going to happen, imminently happen.
Yeah.
So I had already mentally prepared myself. I had done tours in Bosnia and Afghanistan during 99 and 2000 just for peacekeeping times.
Yeah.
When I went over for like 6-month peacekeeping tours. So I was aware of third world areas and third world countries, but nothing could prepare you for stuff that was going to come.
yeah, how were those other countries? Like,
And they're very, very stripped down. I mean, you get to some of the air. I was mostly stationed in like railroad areas where they were trying to transport stuff. They had me there doing communications connections and making sure their electrical was squared away in their generators.
Yeah.
So that's all my job was there. So I didn't get to roam a lot and see a whole lot, but just seeing some of the people out there, I mean, it's very desolate.
yeah. Yeah, anything memorable that you can think of at that time?
During that time, just when we were transporting from like where the military base was to where we were going to, just seeing some of the people, the way they lived, like huts that they would live in. And it's just like you where you see like normal homes around here, you'd see like mud huts or just, and you would see people with their feces and other things that they would just take from a bucket and throw it on the frickin' side of the street because they don't have running plumbing in their homes. So I mean, it's very, very archaic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it really makes you appreciate where you live now.
oh yeah, it really made me appreciate where I lived.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because the closest thing that I've really gone to, because I haven't been all that, I don't know, blessed with the ability to travel across the world and stuff. The closest I've got was Mexico. And
okay.
And even driving around through Mexico, you're like, there's buildings falling down all over the place.
Yes,
and I mean,
exactly.
It's a third world country, and you're going between the airport and the resort and all the crap in between. You almost feel guilty because you're like, okay, I'm on vacation here, and these people are struggling to live.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah, you see that, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Because when we were traveling through in those countries, especially when we were traveling through, when I got to Iraq in 2003, we saw like multiple different villages, and it's just like the way they lived just makes you feel sad for them almost.
Yeah.
But then you see a lot of them when we first got there. Some of them were appreciative we were there.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were not. They did not take light to us. I mean, we got the middle finger. We got people throwing rocks at us. And it was a different way of us trying to live out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, their culture is just that way, though. They don't know anything else, and the only thing people ever tell them is white devils from America.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Western civilization. We are the devil. So it's like, no, we're not. We're just trying to make a better life for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like you guys are living in squalor in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're trying to protect ourselves from your radicals that want to harm us. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's fine if you guys all think the way you do, but when you come and harm us, that's the problem.
Yep,
so,
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you can't exactly blame all of them for the way they are.
No,
it's just,
yeah, that's how they were. That's how it was ingrained in their heads from like childbirth.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of them live.
Yeah.
But some of them do understand that it's a better way to live coming and moving into Western civilization. So some of them do like to try and get themselves out of there. And I applaud them, but do it legally. That's do it legally.
Yeah. Well, it's like North Korea and Kim Jong-un and all them, and they keep their people so naive to the Western culture and the outside world because they don't want them to know that it's not 1930 anymore.
Yeah, I know it is not.
So, and so I imagine the naivety of a lot of that works out for their governments and stuff like that. So, because now you guys are able to be controlled so easy. So, but so we'll get back to you were working on 9/11. How quickly did you get deployed?
They had us mobilized inside of that same year in 2001. They had all of us gather. They wanted all of us to gather and go over with us that they know that imminently there will be a mobilization. So, but we didn't get fully mobilized till about a year later.
Okay.
In December of 2002, that's when we got our mobilization orders.
Yeah. Was there a lot of training in between then?
In between then, we tried to make sure that we had everybody up to date on all of their different classes, their different trainings, just going through book work again, making sure that they understood like what their job skill was.
Yeah.
So that way, if I already had an idea we're going, so I need to make sure that everybody that was in our company, especially in my platoon, was squared away.
Yeah.
So, because I was a squad leader and I was in charge of 12 different people.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure that I had them up to date on everything that they needed to know, everything that they needed to make sure that they knew for their job skills. Because I was in an engineer company. We had masons, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. I mean, everybody in our platoon was all tradesmen.
Yeah.
Everybody was in the trades. So.
How old were you at this time?
Back then, I was 24 back then when I got activated in 2002.
Yeah.
So
you're probably one of the older guys at that time.
Yeah, I was one of the older guys at that time because a lot of them were in their like 18, 19, 20. I was 24 at the time, was going to be turning 25. By the time we left to go, because we left in February of 2003 is when we left to go to Fort Carson, Colorado. And at that point, I had a 6-month-old daughter. So, and it was heartbreaking having to leave her, but I knew I was going for a reason.
Yeah.
But we had so many guys that they were just fresh out of high school that just joined the military, and they were getting pushed. They just got out of basic and AIT, and this just gets thrown in their lap.
Yeah.
That they're like, well, we're going to war. It's like, I hope you guys are ready.
Yeah.
So at least I had been to 2 other areas that I knew. And my brother, my oldest brother, when he was in the military for 28 years. He had joined during the end of the Vietnam War, and he went to Desert Storm. So he explained to me, you're going to see some stuff that is not from around here. You're going to be in a completely different land that you're not going to. You're going to looking like, man, you're not in Kansas anymore. Yeah. And that's how it was.
Yeah. Did he get drafted or did he volunteer?
No, he volunteered.
Okay.
Yeah, he volunteered. He joined the Marine Corps in 75 or 74, and then he ended up going over to Vietnam for, like, I think it was the last year of Vietnam. So he went there for a year and then came home. After 4 years in the Marines, he transferred into the Army Reserve. And that's where he spent the rest of his time, including being activated to go to Desert Storm.
Oh, okay.
And then he explained to me that, you're going to find sand in so many different places when you get out there that you're gonna come home and be like, I had sand there too. Like how did I get it in this?
You're still finding sand when you're home.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was I wouldn't take any of the time back because it was a lot of life learning skills and a life learning just experiences that it was just. and being one of the, not older guys, because we had some guys that were in their like late 20s and early 30s that were there, but not a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
And some of the guys that were there that were younger than me, they knew that I had already been to a couple of areas.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that he was older than us, but he had been in Desert Storm. So he was explaining to them that, yeah, it's going to be different for you guys. You're not going to be, you're not going to understand that once we get out there. And really, like the first day we get out there, we were being transported, and they didn't want us transporting in military vehicles because they didn't want everybody and their grandma's cousin knowing that we were being pushed to a certain area.
Yeah.
So they had us in private buses with sheets over the windows and stuff, but we were looking out the windows, and where we would see like deer running here, there's camels running everywhere. I'm like, are you seeing this?
Yeah, we don't see too many camels. Right?
Yeah, I know. No, just running wild. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't even think about it. I'd just be like, I guess that's their native wildlife.
Yep, exactly. It kind of weirded a bunch of us out.
Yeah.
But it was, I enjoyed the time. But it's coming from going to Fort Carson, Colorado. We were there for about a month and a half training just to make sure we were up to date on like all of our shots, everything else. We got all of our new gear to us and everything else. But we ended up leaving from there. It was in the 50s there. We touched down at midnight. It was 100 degrees at midnight in Kuwait City. Like, I think I'm going to die.
The guy I had on yesterday or whatever, he had the same experience. He's like, yeah, because he spent his training time in Mississippi. So it's Mississippi in June. It's humider than all heck. It's 90 degrees.
Yep.
And they land over there. It's 90 degrees at 2 o'clock in the morning when they get there. And he's like, oh, well, 90 degrees. Steps off, and he's like, it's just hot.
Yes, it is.
So.
And it's no humidity. It's just a dry heat that like sucks everything out of you.
Yeah, especially when you're all water fat from.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh, it was horrible, but we got through it. We took about, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. They wanted us to climatize there, and I left there. I left from here. I was like 200 pounds when I left here. I came home because I ended up several months in. I ended up having a hand injury that sent me home, but I ended up losing 35, almost 40 pounds. I was like, holy cow.
Just water.
Yep,
water
exactly.
gone.
It just gone.
Yeah.
'Cause I was sweating everything out. We were sweating so much there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Man, looking back, I wonder how that would feel to be that light again. No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Western civilization ain't the greatest for us.
No, not all the time.
Yeah.
Great living stuff around here, but yeah, just the stuff that we eat and drink.
Yeah, that's because it's of plenty.
Yep, exactly.
So you said you spent like 3 weeks in Colorado doing training, and then you flew over there. And then first experience is the amazing heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we touched down in Kuwait City, and they had a base that was there that we had to get in-processed for being in country. So they had us there. We were just shuffling around from like building to building to make sure we had all of our stuff taken care of.
Yeah.
And it was just deathly hot. We had all of our gear on, flak vest, rifle. We had everything with us. So it was just, we were just, all of us were dying. We were just sweating to death. And then they finally shuttle us into these buses to get us to, we went to camp. I forgot what camp it is, but it's just south of Kuwait City, like about an hour and a half south. And we went, Camp Victory, and we went there, and that's where we stayed for about a good 3 to 4 weeks of just climatizing.
Yeah.
And we were we didn't have air conditioning units, we didn't have nothing. We were in GP medium tents.
Yeah.
It was just bad.
Just microwaves.
Oh yeah, we were just dying. It was just unbearable heat. The first day I was out there was like 130 some degrees in the middle of the day.
Jeez.
The hottest day I was there in Kuwait City was like 158 or 59. We actually, one of the guys had a thermal scanner with him to check the heat, and he found like some spots that were like 158, 59, 160. I'm like, we can cook eggs out here. I'm like, God.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, well, at least it's easy to make food out there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you didn't even have to really put it on your freaking hood of your truck.
Yeah. Yeah, no exhaust manifold cooking needed.
Yeah, no, we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah. So, so after your acclimation time is over, how soon before you're going on missions or
we actually, right after our acclimation time, they had already, the 3rd Infantry Division, they already had stormed the border like April, I think it was April 3rd of that year, or April 4th of that year. They already stormed the border, so we were going right after them. I was with the 4th Infantry Division. We were going right after them, and all our mission was to go build camps.
Yeah.
Just to go build encampments. So we ended up just behind them, rolling right over into Iraq early in the morning, super early. That we started heading up, but it took us, I think, two full days because we had a convoy of hundreds and hundreds of trucks.
Yeah.
So they took us from Camp Victory. We went through into Iraq. As soon as we got over the border of Iraq, we stopped at an encampment there for the night, but we ended up we got ambushed coming into there, so a lot of us were being fired upon, and nobody got hit, thankfully.
Yeah.
We made it into there, and we learned quickly that the sand that they have there turns into very fine particles, and you get into some areas where you go and step off your truck, and you drop into the sand like almost like a foot. Yeah. They called it moon dust. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And the stuff was everywhere, man.
Yeah, gets in everything.
Yeah,
sure.
It was nuts. So, yeah, a lot of us that night, because it was so hot, we just slept out on the tops of all the trucks. We just didn't care.
Yeah.
Because we were already hot as heck. So, but we eventually, that next morning early, we left, kept going straight up. We made our way up to Camp Spiker in Tikrit. We went to Saddam's hometown. That's where we were stopping at for our encampment, to where we were going to start building.
Yeah.
So,
how did the ambush come about?
As we were pulling into the confines of that camp area, they had already built up like blockades on each side and stuff like that, but we could see, like, off in the distance, like, I see somebody moving over there as we were driving in, because we were only coming in at like 20 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour, and I could see people coming in. So they were coming in on both sides of us, and they were just, I swear, you can give them guys a freaking rifle, and they can't hit the broadside of a damn barn. So they were just shooting everywhere, and they were whizzing over our heads, but they were just shooting everywhere.
Well, that's because they're relying on Allah to aim their bullets for them.
Yeah, exactly. So it was frightening, because I had never been in anything like that ever.
Yeah.
But it was eye-opening, because we knew that was going to be one of the first, and definitely wouldn't be the last time that we would get ambushed or get fired upon. So it was just scary.
Yeah. How long did it last?
It only lasted just like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and then from inside the encampment, they had a striker brigade there. So they came straight out and they just unloaded. So it was just like, okay, well, I guess we're fine now.
Yeah. Yeah. Were they just like Humvees or technicals?
No, it was just, they were all in Humvees. It was a striker brigade of Humvees. So they just came out and they just unloaded what they needed to on whatever they could find, whatever they could see. So we ended up, it was started and over inside of like 10-minute time frame. So
that's good. Not a long firefight.
Yeah, no, that wasn't. It wasn't a long firefight. And then we were able to get in, get something to eat quick, and then freaking just try and bunk in for the night.
Yeah.
And went back the next day. Hauling up the next day was kind of interesting because we went through, like I was saying, there was a couple of villages we went through, and just seeing how they lived just made a lot of us sad. Like, wow, you guys live like this. Like, because we could see that there was like water spigots out towards like center areas. Like you get to like a whole block area, there's like one water spigot, and you'd see people coming to get pails of water and stuff to bring back to their houses. But a lot of them didn't have running water.
Yeah.
So you'd see them bringing out their own like urine, feces, everything, and dumping it at the side of the street. I mean, it was just.
Yeah, people have said it just smells terrible.
Oh, it stunk to high heaven.
Yeah.
And then just when we finally got back to like the highway areas after coming through some of those villages, and I was pretty surprised. They were built up over there, especially in Kuwait. In Kuwait, they were built up like you would here in the U.S.
Yeah.
They had like in Kuwait City, they had malls. I was pretty surprised because we wanted to make sure that we had stuff for us once we got up to Crete. We sent guys back down to Kuwait City to bring us up. Like we went to, they had an Ace Hardware there and a Sears. So we bought chest freezers and microwaves and a couple of coffee pots. We bought a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So, and we had all that stuff up there because they had bottles of water shipped in for us all the time.
Yeah.
So, because we were drinking anywhere between and they were the 1 almost 2 gallon jugs of water, the 1.5 liter water bottles.
Oh yeah.
We were just sucking probably between 4 and 7 of those down a day, and barely pissing.
Yeah, just evaporating.
Because we were just sweating everything out. So, but yeah, getting up through, going through Iraq was just. It was interesting just driving through and just seeing all the different, as we saw when they came through and bombed on that invasion day, they hit a lot of different infrastructure. They hit a lot of different areas of roadways, overhead bridges. I mean, there was craters in the freeway that we had to duck and dodge around. I mean, it was crazy just driving through there.
Yeah, just actually seeing the destruction, not just on TV with 30-second video.
Yeah, don't see the 30-second video. You're seeing it as you're driving by it. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was a big bomb.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing because it really puts the power of the military into perspective.
Yes, exactly.
We're really good at destroying shit.
Yes, we are.
But, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I guess we're not too bad at rebuilding stuff either.
Yeah, no, we're not too bad at rebuilding it. Yeah, once we had gotten up, and I could see the change in the areas coming from the villages just before we hit Baghdad. When we hit Baghdad is when I saw you'd see apartment buildings and complexes and houses, really nice houses and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it looks like in a bigger metropolitan area. And then we saw apparently they must still have had the university because there was a college that was right near the freeway, and we saw some of their students walking along the side of the highway, going there. So it was very interesting just seeing that they don't drive everywhere. A lot of them walk all the time.
Yeah, and then being in the middle of a war zone and still going to school and all that.
Yep. Yeah, it had to be just completely dismal to some of them.
Yeah, especially if you're from other countries coming to that country just for an education.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So then, so you're in Baghdad now?
Yeah, we hit Baghdad, and then we actually went through Baghdad, pulled to the side of the highway, and we took about an hour break. But the funny part is anytime we would take a break on the side of the highway, we would have, because right behind our truck was a fuel tanker, and one of the people that were driving it was a lady, and it was a blonde lady. Well, not many of the guys over there from Iraq have seen blonde women before.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as they would pull up trying to sell us stuff, they would try and sell us like cartons of cigarettes, freaking drinks, food. They'd be trying to sell us everything.
Yeah.
They'd pull up next to us and then jump out of their car and come over by us. And one of them actually tried grabbing her. And so a couple of us had to step in. It's like, no, dude, you got to. And then they tried grabbing her again. One of our guys, he ended up butt stroking the dude right to the side of his back, getting him off her. It was it was intense. I'm like, this is crazy. It's like these guys just had no concept of space. Of stay out of my bubble, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when they're just trying to sell stuff too.
Yeah, I know. They had no concept of it at all.
Yeah.
So, and then we finally got, we kept heading up, and we finally made it into Tikrit, which was nice, because we knew we were getting into our encampment, because that's where our final destination was going to be at for that point for at least a month, if not a little longer, so that way we could start getting missions to start going to rebuilding stuff. So it was interesting getting up there, and then just knowing that I was in Saddam's hometown.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it was Camp Spiker was an old Air Force Academy training base, and that's where we ended up encamping at. We were inside of like some of their barracks buildings and stuff. We took them over, and we made sure I had my crew of electricians and stuff. We put strips of lights in there. We got outlets for people to use for plugging in stuff. We made sure everything was good to go, and we hooked everything up to our generators. So,
Was Saddam captured at this time?
no, he wasn't captured yet. He was on the run at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. We found out later on when I got injured. I actually have a plate in my hand that I ended up when we were going on one of our missions. I was going to pull myself up into a truck, and as I pulled myself up, the driver of my truck was trying to move the truck a little bit forward. Well, he slammed the door closed, and the lock mechanism went right into my freaking hand, and I was pissed. I dropped down out of off the truck, and I'm like, I shaking my hand. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him. I ran around to the other side of the truck. I was gonna beat him, but then they're like, Sergeant Frahm, you need to stop. You're dripping blood. And I looked down. I'm like, oh, I see bone. So that ended up sending me out of Iraq. But that was in like July when we were there. I was already there for about a good. We were in country in Iraq for a little bit around 3 months by that time that happened. But I was in country for almost about 4 months over in the Middle East for about 4 months. So, but we ended up going on a few missions up there. One of them that we ended up doing right outside of the compound that we were in, we ended up rebuilding their municipal building. Because, when the bombs came down, it hit part of the building. So we had to do a little bit of restructuring. I had to figure out, between me and 2 other guys, figuring out their electrical system to make sure it worked again, and to make sure if we had to add anything to it or fix anything for it. So we made sure that was good. Took care of that stuff. Then we went to like a small park area that they had for some of the kids there. We ended up building a large play area and a play set for them. By scratch. We had our carpenters actually design it, and we built it for them.
That's
so
neat.
it was the stuff you don't see in the mainstream media. That because they always want to see doom and gloom. That was like one of our proud moments that we had, that we actually, and the kids came out and they enjoyed it. They had a lot of fun when we got done with it, and we were able to set them free on it. It's like, here, have at it.
I mean, is that something they've even had before, or is this like
they
totally
probably
new?
had something before, but it was like dilapidated. Everything was like they never took care of it. So, but we built them all brand new, like a big swing set and slide and just an area where they could play. So it was nice for them.
Where Where does the wood and stuff come from?
We actually had a lot of that stuff shipped up from Kuwait City.
Okay.
We had some of our truck drivers that were in our company go back down and haul stuff up for us.
Okay.
Because we would make lists. We would go out, take a survey of the area. It's like, what are we all going to need?
Yeah.
And then we would figure it out and be like, okay, we need this, 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 and this. Put an entire sheet together for what we wanted and what we needed. And then they would go back down and they would bring some of the stuff back from the camp that was down there, right by the Kuwait City airport, where our main incoming processing was. Because they got a lot of stuff delivered to them that was for rebuilding. So they had like tons of like cement bags. They had tons of lumber that we could get our hands on, fasteners, screws. They had everything we could get. Just before we left to go overseas, DeWalt actually had a huge thing where they donated, I think, 15 kits, like just cordless kits for us to use, saws, drills, everything you name it. We had it with us. So I was very happy we had all that. It was kind of nice. So I didn't have to worry about our guys like, how are we going to put the stuff together?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, because I wouldn't even think that there'd be much construction out there out of wood.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what we requested. All these different types of wood, fasteners, everything else we needed for that, and we made sure that we got everything because we had a couple of guys that were the carpenters. They were actually carpenters in the real world. That was their trade, so they knew exactly what they put down on the list. It's like, yeah, we need this, this, and this. It's like me, I was an electrician by trade, so I would always tell them I need this, this, and this. It's like make sure we can requisition it.
Yeah, because I'm sure their electrical standards over there are
subpar. Subpar.
Yeah.
You'd believe the archaic mess that I've run into.
Oh, I'm sure it's just stuff that's not meant to conduct electricity.
Yep, exactly. And you're like, how did this place not burn down before?
It probably did, but it's not made of wood. So, that's crazy. It's just you're bringing. There's so much of Western civilization that's being brought there that even they were probably like, what the heck are these crazy people doing? You mean you can build stuff out of trees?
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah. Oh, it was a fun time though, working with some of the people out there. So we had a few guys that were assigned to us that were interpreters, so that way we could actually, if we had some of the civilians that were in that area, if they came up to us, we had somebody that can actually talk to them. So,
and then are they local interpreters then?
Yeah, most of them were local.
Yeah.
So we didn't have. I think we had maybe one that came from like a different country, but most of them were local.
Yeah.
That spoke fluent English and fluent Farsi is what they had there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I've heard from other people and stuff that those interpreters are pretty cool people.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're kind of breaking away from the pack to help out.
Yep.
Us.
Yeah, they definitely were.
So,
Yeah.
so any of those missions that you went on, I mean, are there any kinetic situations during that? Like, I mean, are there firefights or?
We actually had 2 separate instances. One where we were going on a mission to go and check out another location, and we ended up getting ambushed on a highway area where one of the guys that I was activated with, he ended up getting shot through and through, and it killed him instantly.
Jeez.
So that was one instance that we had. We had another instance where they sent me and my squad into the town there to go and take a look at a couple of buildings because they just wanted to make sure, and they were, I don't remember if they were like what we would call public works buildings. They were their buildings. They just wanted us to go and take a look at their municipal buildings, a couple of them, and make sure what we needed to do. Now, typically when they send us out on that stuff, they will send out because number one, the company I'm with is an engineer company.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trained as infantry.
Yeah.
They're not trained in combat. So they would usually send out a squad of infantrymen with us to basically watch our back.
Yeah.
Well, this particular instance, the battalion commander did not send us out. He had known intel 2 days in advance that the area had potential hostiles in it. But he still sent us out even though we didn't have an infantry unit to go and back us up. 2 of my guys ended up getting shot during that, but it wasn't life-threatening, but one of them had to be sent home immediately because it went through the large bone in his leg.
Oh.
So he ended up getting sent home for that.
Yeah. And then, I mean, are you guys going out in full kit, or?
We're going out in full gear.
Yeah.
So, but it's just, we still have our rifles on us and stuff like that, but we're there to do a job. So, I mean, sometimes we're not keeping our focus on everything that's coming around us.
Yeah.
So that's why we tried to have some of our extra hands, like keep an eye on stuff while we look and do a survey. You keep an eye, but get overtaken by people and they start firing at you, and then we get on the radio, and in less than probably 3 to 5 minutes we have a Humvee pulling up with infantrymen, and they're basically having all those hostiles scatter.
Yeah.
So, but it was just the issue that they sent us out without any backup, none.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
that's pretty bogus. Somebody got fired for that.
Well, I'll explain what happened. So we got back to the Camp Spiker that afternoon. They didn't debrief me yet at all. I told the driver of my truck, take me right to the TOC. I want to go, and I went right to the battalion TOC. I walked in the door there, and they could see I was hot. I went right past the XO. It's like, Sergeant Frahm, don't go in there. I went right in by the battalion commander. I grabbed him. He was a full bird colonel. I punched him dead in his face. He flew over his chair because I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was pissed because I thought, you put my guys in that type of hostile area?
Yeah, like you're not infantry. Why are
About
you?
to say, why are you doing that? Oh, and then they had to pull me away from him, and they ended up. He gets up after that. I want him brought up on charges. They all look at him like, you realize what you just did?
Yeah.
They're like, but so within like a day afterward, I ended up getting busted in rank because they were like, well, we have to do something.
Worth it.
It's like, we have to do something. It's like, you hit a superior officer. It's like we could bring you up on an Article 15 and actually section you out, but we're not because of the instance. So, but we have to bust you in rank. I'm like, fine, keep him the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
So after that, all the way up till the time that I got my hand injury, I steered clear of him. I was nowhere near the guy.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think he was fearful too because he didn't want to come across me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So is that pretty much covers all the time up until you hurt your hand?
Yeah, until I hurt my hand, and then because it was like within like a week and a half after that is when I hurt my hand.
Yeah.
It was like right after the 4th of July is when that whole thing. It was like it was a couple weeks after the 4th of July is when that happened. But on the 4th of July was actually cool. When we hit midnight on the 4th of July, all of the armored divisions in the area, all the 110s, just unloaded on a couple of buildings that they knew hostiles were in.
Yeah.
And they just unloaded.
Yeah.
It was like fireworks, but real big boom fireworks. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, real fireworks. So you're still in Iraq with the surgeries and stuff?
Yeah,
on your
well,
hand?
I was there. They did a field surgery during the first time at Camp Spiker. They did a field surgery there, and then they sent me out to go to another base so that way I could be flown out. So then they flew me out to Germany. From there, I flew to Germany. And when I got to Germany, I was at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center. So then they took a look at everything that they did in the field surgery and stuff, making sure that because they sent me with a ton of antibiotics and shit.
Yeah.
And then they made sure that everything was good to go. So then, but I was stuck in Germany for over a weekend. So that was like the first time I finally got a chance to enjoy and socialize with people.
Yeah.
So, and it was on an Air Force base, so they took us out. A few of the guys there and females there took us out, and we enjoyed our time.
Yeah.
Out in Germany.
That's the first time you've been in Germany, then?
Yeah, that was the first time I was in Germany. So it was, and it's the area we were in is basically like being in up north Wisconsin. I mean, just rolling hills, green everywhere, trees. I was like, wow, I went from desert to this.
I went from hot to not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that had to have been a pretty decent situation.
Oh yeah, it was nice getting up there.
Yeah. So you guys just bar hopped, or?
Yeah, we bar hopped for a couple of days. We had a good time, and I will never go to, like, if I ever go to Germany again, I will never go into one of their pubs and ask for a tall, because the guy brought out, was like, you want tall? Because he spoke fluent English. He's like, oh, we've got a tall for you. He brought out the boot. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, liter of beer. I was like, holy crap.
Like that one up there.
Yep. I was like, you got to be joking me. It's like, this is insane. So yeah, after that, I could barely walk out of the place. I'm like, yeah, you need to take me back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just getting your fill while you're there.
Yeah, it was a good time though. It was enjoyable.
Yeah. So how long were you down because of your injury?
They actually, once I got out of Germany, they sent me to out in Maryland. They sent me to I forgot the air base in Maryland that they sent me to, but from there they needed to send me to an Army base to have them look at me in the States. So then they sent me down to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. I'm like, this is weird. I'm going from Iraq to Germany to Maryland to San Antonio. So then they finally they cleared me to go home for a month. So and by that point, it took about a week and a half. And it hit like right at the end of July, and they sent me home right at the end of July, beginning of August, and they said, well, we're going to send you home. So went back home for 30 days, and then they sent me. I had to go back because I was still on orders. I had to go back to Fort Carson, and then they assigned me to what was called a medical hold unit. To where any of the guys that are injured coming back home, they end up going to this unit that's there, so that way they can do all their medical appointments, they can do anything that they need to, rehab, all that stuff. So ended up being in Fort Carson, started going through rehabilitation for my hand. They checked everything out, said it was okay, but it was healing strange. So when it got to about December of 2003, I was looking at it, and they said, well, it can heal like that. That's within the range that we okay it. I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So my buddies and I, we devised a plan that weekend that I was going to re-break my hand. So got completely pissed drunk outside of Fort Carson at a couple of the places, and I ended up re-breaking my hand. They're like, how'd you do this? Like, I just punched a freaking wall.
Yeah, well, at least that's one way to get it fixed, right?
Yep, I know. And then they had to reopen it, and they put a plate over it that time.
Yeah.
So that way it would actually heal straight, not canted like I was looking at it in their x-rays. I'm like, that. So now it's the plate's still in there, but it doesn't bother me at all.
Well, that's a good thing.
So
yeah, as long as you can use your hand.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, then I was there till basically from December until about April for like surgery. Well, the surgery was in December. Rehabilitation, making sure that everything was good to go all the way up to April, and then I got sent home. Yeah. So that's when they finally ended up sending me home. So.
Yeah. So you're done then, or you're going back?
Oh, I was still going back to
Yeah.
my reserve unit. But
Mm-hmm.
when I got back home, my reserve unit, they weren't home yet.
Yeah.
So they only had very minimal people in the building. So I told them, it's like, so you guys extended me. Can I go on my ready reserve now?
Mm-hmm.
So the guy that was in there, because I still had to be kept on stop loss until 2005.
Yeah.
They were able to put me from 2004, April 2004 till October 2005. They put me on ready reserve, so I didn't have to go 1 week in a month or anything like that anymore. So I just basically sat at home and just rode the rest of my time out.
Yeah.
So, but they came to me a couple times and said, "Well, do you want to rejoin?" I'm like, I go in. You're probably going to be putting me somewhere because I'm going to be going right back after that colonel.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's like I am not going to rejoin under that circumstance.
Yeah.
No. So
Yeah, whatever happened to him? Like, I mean, did he get?
he ended up, after that, I learned from a couple people and through the grapevine that he ended up getting busted on his commission back down to, he was either a major or a captain, because he was found negligent in a couple of other things.
Yeah.
And then he basically got where he had to do a mandatory retirement.
Yeah.
They was either retire or were Article 15 you out.
Yeah.
So
Well, at least karma finally came around.
yeah, it came and finally got caught up to him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When that happened, how long did it take for the infantry to get there to kind of cover you guys?
it was like about when that instance happened, it was within 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh.
As soon as I got on the radio, they were coming almost right away.
Yeah.
So I had my guys bunkered down inside of a building. After the two guys got shot. The one guy, at least it was a through and through.
Yeah.
He was still able to move, but I had one of our other guys in my squad. I had him pushing down with gauze and stuff to make sure
Yeah.
it wasn't going to bleed. So, but it seemed that he was okay. It's just the one other guy that was there that got hit in the leg. He was having the worst amount of it.
Yeah.
So I told them we need a medevac instantly. So they ended up getting. Along right behind the infantry unit was a med unit that came up immediately.
Yeah.
So, and they took both of them out. So, and he ended up, my one buddy that got his leg shot, he ended up getting sent out like that afternoon. They tried to brace his leg as best as possible, but they didn't do a major surgery until he got to Germany.
Yeah.
That's when they did the major surgery.
Yeah, I imagine that'd be a lot of reconstruction.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, he's got a pin from like his hip down to his knee.
Oh yeah.
So it's just one straight rod.
Well, at least he's able to keep his leg.
Yep, exactly.
So.
He was able to keep his leg. So, but he's also, because of that, he got 100% disability from
Yeah.
VA. So,
Well, he deserves it.
Yep, exactly. For dealing with that shit, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been. Thankfully, that was only a thing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and then how long, you said that they all kind of dispersed, but how long were you guys actually kinetic, or the situation being hot?
It was probably, the area was hot for probably a good between 15 and 30 minutes. It was hot in that area.
Yeah.
So until they finally got everybody out of there.
Yeah.
So, and then we retract and everybody got out. So yeah, it was about 15 to 30 minutes, the time frame total that it took. And then we were hauling ass back to our encampment, and that's when the whole instance happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the blood was flowing. The freaking tension was just at an all-time high. I was ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that thoughts have never really left you either, because I mean that guy put you guys in a shitty situation.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Yeah, shitty situation. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. Well, at least nobody died. That's a plus.
No, nobody did on that account.
Yeah. Did you get the guy that got you?
We don't know if we got him, but I'm sure one of the infantry guys probably knew about it and did. So
Good.
yeah, and then when we got back, because I know it's a little bit off of that subject, but you were talking about Saddam.
Mm-hmm.
It just popped into my head.
Yeah.
My company, we were attached to a 4th Infantry Brigade that was there, and the Stryker Brigade that we were also attached with, they're the ones that found Saddam about, in August or whatever, when he was found. They were the ones that found him.
Huh.
And I was like, no shit, those are the same guys that we were like building up their encampment like a couple months prior and helping them out with everything. And those were the same guys that got him.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. And he was not that far away from the area.
Yeah.
So he was just hiding out in these little like underground freaking bunkers. Is all he was hiding out in.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a little bit about that, because that's more of the time when internet's becoming more predominant and you're able to actually hear about a lot of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's take a little break here, and then we'll kind of get into out of duty life.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll take a gander at that.
Awesome.
All right.
Sounds good, man.
All right. So we are back from the break. We kind of left off where your hand injury kind of made your time in service up.
Yep.
So where'd you go? Where'd you go from there? So I imagine you're working full-time electrician.
Yeah, from there, I actually went back to civilian life. Well, they kind of take you and don't give you too much of a transition, but they kind of throw you back into civilian life.
Yeah.
So I went back into working for an electrical contractor on the north side of Milwaukee, or in Milwaukee, and I worked there for many years as doing electrical work, but then I started learning specialized work, started doing fiber splicing, started learning systems work, fire alarm stuff, started learning a lot of different things that were basically more on the technical side.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I started honing my skills on. So, and yeah, I still do electrical work, but I was doing a lot of those systems work for many years, and I worked for a couple of different electrical contractors doing that work, doing like security work, closed circuit TV, access control, different paging systems, door intercom systems. So I was learning to hone my skills into doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Ended up I was at three different major electrical contractors that are in Wisconsin, doing work for each one of them. Was project managing, along with doing the work in the field, was project managing as well, and selling jobs.
Yeah.
And so it got me to understand like the behind the scenes work of like how a job came together, and how because usually when I was first out there doing the stuff was just handed to me. Here, we need you to go take care of this.
Yeah.
And I learned actually how it came to talking with the customer, estimating the stuff, and putting the stuff into play.
Yeah.
So, those years actually were really formidable in my head, because they helped me to understand like both sides of the spectrum, the grunt work side and then the business side of it.
Yeah.
So that way I have a better understanding and a more appreciation of what some of the sales force people go through and the estimators go through, compared to also what the guys in the field go through.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I ended up doing that for many years for Roman Electric Company in Milwaukee. Ended up leaving that company and working for Pieper Electric for a while doing that. But then I had a separate company that knew of me and knew what my skills were, and they wanted me to come and be a security systems manager for them. So ended up going to that company. It was a non-union company, but ended up making a decent amount of money working for them, and making a name for myself even more, doing stuff for all different municipalities, helping out with different customers that they already currently had, and just enhancing what they were able to give them.
Yeah.
So I've worked out in the field as a journeyman, worked out in the field as a systems technician, worked in the field as a project manager, as an estimator, manager of an entire division through one of the companies I was with. So I've played a lot of different roles, and now I've finally hit myself where I landed in a spot that I think that it's been like the perfect spot for me. I work for the city of Milwaukee as an electrician, but I work in their I work for electrical services, but I work for the communications division in electrical services. So we do a lot of fiber optic splicing, copper splicing, paging systems, data systems, voice systems. We deal with all of that stuff for the entire city. So I'm dealing with a lot of working in manholes every day. I run a crew of anywhere between 3 and 4 people that we go out and we take care of the infrastructure of the city, to where we're either taking out old police call boxes, or we're repairing the duct system that the cable runs through in the underground, because there's so much of it in the municipality, in a municipal setting. You would be surprised at how much infrastructure there is under the ground.
Oh, I'm sure.
Going from point to point to point. And we have like hundreds of miles of fiber that runs all throughout the city.
Yeah.
So, and my crew and we install it. And we have a couple of guys that know how to splice it. I also know how to splice. So it's to where I train my laborers and my workers on how to do similar job that I can do. So that way, if I'm not there, they're able to step up and do stuff.
Yeah.
So,
so now we're back to the training part that you like to train
exactly.
Other people, so it's not quite like a drill instructor though. But
nope, not quite like a drill instructor. And the guys know, they're like, "You were a drill instructor. Why are you so calm now?" It's like, well, and I like to attribute this because
you didn't give them stress cards.
Yeah, no, 7.5. I've been sober for 7.5 years.
Yeah.
And I knew a lot of my anger and stuff came from when I was drinking, and my stupidity came from when I was drinking. So now, since I gave that up, I mean, I've had a lot clearer head and a lot better thought process, and not having to worry about that stuff. So I keep a very cool and calm persona of myself every single day of going out in the field and working with these guys. So, I mean, and they understand it, and they know that I will be there to back them up, and I won't back down from one of the managers if they try and say something that, oh, your crew was doing this, or they didn't do this properly. And I'll look them dead in the face and like, the fuck you talking about? It's like, I'm the one that was there. Don't you dare say anything about my crew.
Yeah.
It's like, because I know they did it properly. So I back my people up constantly and make sure that they have what they need for their tooling, any material they need from the trucks, making sure that they're squared away. So we make sure that all of our stuff is good to go on a daily basis. And it's just that now I just do it with a much calmer head and more cool sense of myself.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of their military experience just really did transition into your civilian career too.
Oh yeah, it did. A lot of it did.
Yeah,
and it's because I didn't just be an electrician in the military. I did communications work in the military, and then combat engineer. Yeah, you really don't transition that into civilian life, but I tell you, I know how to blow stuff up with certain things. So if anybody needs any demolition done, I mean,
I can unsplice too.
I can unfuck something up really quick.
How did your transition go initially?
The transition, it was a little difficult at first. I kept to myself a lot. Drank a hell of a lot. Didn't want to deal with people. I just didn't socialize a lot. My socialization was going like out to bars and just being with other people that were doing the same thing. So my transition, it was, I mean, I knew in my head, like, my skills that I had, and my work ethic was, I've taught that to my kids. The work ethic is top notch.
Yeah.
To where I know that I don't care if I'm sick. I'm at work.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm sick. And we made sure that I got through every single day, but it's just some days were more difficult than others.
Yeah.
I mean, and on occasion, yeah, I have those like nightmares or terrors in the back of my head to where it comes from time to time. I mean, it's not to where you can just take somebody out of the military that was in a combat zone and just throw them into civilian life and say, okay, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
No.
That does not happen. And if somebody says that, oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. You end up understanding that there's people that they can deal with things better than other people. Like me, I know now. Yeah, the VA. I go and I see a psych. I talk to counselors and stuff. They've got me on a decent medication regimen.
Yeah.
And I make sure that I am good to go on a daily basis, to where I know that I'm not going to be stressed. If I can help it, I will try not to be stressed.
Yeah.
I'll be in a good mood, enjoy my day, because I know that a lot of other people have it a lot worse off than I do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I heard something like, I don't know, I watch a lot of Facebook and Instagram reels and stuff, and despite what the algorithm tries to do, they try to put porn in front of you constantly.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't want to watch that crap. So,
Yep,
but I've gotten kind of deep into religion and all that stuff, and then kind of like the feel good videos and stuff like that. And there was one that popped up that really resonated with me. It's he's sitting in front of somebody else, like on a podcast like this, and he asked, like, what if I gave you $1 million right now? How would you feel?
Yeah.
And then obviously you would take it, you would feel great. And then, okay, I'll give you $10 million, but you won't wake up tomorrow. Will you take that $10 million?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer is resoundingly, no, I'm not going to take that. I want to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the point that he's trying to make is every day you wake up is worth $10 million or worth more than $10 million.
Exactly.
So it's until you start to grasp that concept that just the fact that you wake up in the morning makes everything worth it. Like, it's priceless.
Exactly.
And that's the hardest thing to start conveying to people. But I feel like that small little statement has got so much value to try and get that across.
Definitely.
But and I'm sure regardless of anybody's transition, you're, like you said, you're so used to wartime and the brotherhood and all that. That coming back to civilian life and well, here, come back to this. You're not used to this.
Yeah, definitely. So I know as far as like now in my civilian life, I know when I first got back and I first transitioned into civilian life, I needed something to deal with brotherhood. So I had joined the VFW because I thought that'd be a decent thing to do. Yeah. So, and I was very active for many, many years in there. But I found that it was a lot of, not to say that it's bad, but there was a lot of older gentlemen in there and it wasn't attracting any of the younger guys, even though I kept trying to attract the younger guys to it. But they were just, a lot of them just didn't have the drive of it anymore. Yeah. And I ended up being like in the post that I was at in Mequon. They're actually now merged with Germantown. I was the senior vice commander there. I was the commander of that post. I ended up trying to make sure that we stayed as a post, but we just didn't have the membership. Yeah. So we ended up having to merge with another post. I ended up also being an adjutant, which is basically a secretary for the state of Wisconsin for District 6. Yeah. So I was that for about 5 years. So, I mean, I was active in it. I was really active in doing stuff with the VFW and stuff like that. But it fizzled because just a lot of the guys, they put a bad taste in my mouth from it.
Yeah.
So, and then I wanted to find something else because I still wanted that brotherhood. So now.
Well, I'm sure you're drinking a lot too. That's kind of the pastime. That's really.
Exactly. Yep. So, and then now I found a brotherhood that I've been with since 2020. That's the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. So, and that I've loved everything about that because it gives you a sense of being with your other brothers and sisters, and you have the camaraderie, but it's also something that's fun to do, riding bikes. And I've been on motorcycles since I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
So, and it's just, I was drawn to it, and it pulled me in, and now I've had a fun time since. Yeah. And I've held a couple of different officer positions in 2 different chapters, and now I'm what they call a jam, just a member. So I'm just sitting back and enjoying myself now. Just going to events, just going to my meetings, and just enjoying stuff, and then just getting out on the bike. So that's what I love to do. Yeah,
yeah. So what made you quit drinking?
I hit a point. I actually tried quitting drinking 4 times. This was the 4th time that I hit it. The first time was when my oldest daughter was born. I knew that I knew that she was coming soon, and I needed to have a change. I needed to have a big change because I was a wreck. I was a train wreck. So I finally got to the point that said, okay, I'm stopping. So that worked up till the time I got activated in 2003. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to die. I might as well go out with a bang, so let's just drink it through. Screw it. So I went back to drinking. Then I ended up going into, again, another stint of just drinking completely, just not caring about anything. And I ended up getting an OWI in 2004, that summer after I had gotten home from being active. And that was my second stint of going and stopping drinking. And that lasted about a good 5-6 months-ish. And then I figured, well, everybody's out having fun and stuff, and my friends, they're always out doing stuff, and they might as well just go back out. And then I started with like 1 beer, and then 2 beers, and then I had a problem. I never had a shut-off valve. Yeah. So I would just go out and just hammer it. So ended up going out and having fun, and then just not caring. And then just got my second OWI in 2010. And that's when it got a little more serious. So that I actually quit drinking for almost a year and a half-ish. Yeah, year and a half-ish, around there. And then finally came to the point that at the time I was with my second ex-wife, that she ended up coming to me basically saying, because my second OWI, I got arrested in front of my 2-year-old son at the time. He does not know it. He doesn't remember it at all, but I remember it vividly. Oh, yeah. So, it ended up coming to a point of she didn't trust me anymore. She couldn't get past any of that. So I ended up saying, okay, fine, if we're doing this, I'm just going to go back out to drinking then. Yeah. So and then finally it hit in 2017 that I hit my last drink, where I was woke up on a bar. I was passed out on the bar from the bartender. She said that I had been passed out for almost an hour just on the bar. I'm like, how much did I spend? She's like, you went through almost $80 just by you. Yeah. Since you got here. It's like, we have an Uber coming to get you. Like, oh shit. And I looked at the time, and it was already like, it was still early in the day. It was only like 6:30, 6:45. I was like, holy crap. So then at that point, I finally said, I can't do this anymore, and just quit. October 20th of 2017 was my last drink.
Huh.
So, and I haven't looked back since, because
Yeah.
I know, I know for me, I can't go back because I don't have the shut-off valve, but I also know that it's better for me and better for other people. It's better for my family, because I know I could potentially lose my kids. I could potentially lose a job. I could potentially lose a lot of things. So that's why I said, no, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially when you're working for the state.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's why I got to the point of like, no, I can't do it. I'm quitting.
Yeah.
And it's stuck with me since 2017.
So it was pretty much a cold turkey situation.
Oh, yeah. Now I started going to AA groups. I actually run an AA meeting on Monday nights. And I go to other groups and such, and I just try and live that word and live that life of not drinking. So, and for a long time there, I told people, it's like, I can't go out with you. I can't go out anywhere. I can't do anything. But now I can go anywhere with people because I know I can't pick up a drink.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. So, but I can go out with people. I can go to a bar. I can shoot pool. I can shoot darts, and I can just be with everybody that's having cocktails and doing whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just have a soda or an NA beer or a water. It's like I can just sit there and relax.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to be hammered to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's a massive accomplishment.
Yeah.
I mean,
It took a lot of internalizing of just the stupidity I went through and the things I put people through. So, and I knew before my parents passed away, my dad, he had a huge problem with my drinking.
Yeah.
And he had pleaded with me many times that you really need to look at yourself. You really need to quit.
Yeah.
And I think it finally resonated that I need to stop.
Yeah.
So now I feel much better for it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. You think you could have done it without AA?
Possibly not without AA, because AA, it brings you a sense of like conformity with other people and togetherness with other people. And I utilize it as it's its own brotherhood. It's its own group of people that they know that they can't pick up that drink.
Yeah.
They know that that's potentially a life-altering, a life-ending situation if that happens.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I try and live and breathe it. I mean, I've seen many people come and go that have tried to get sober but went back out. So, and it's my heart goes out to them because I just wish they would get it.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, there's so many times that I've asked people, it's like, hey, maybe you should cut down. Maybe you should look to quit. It's like, do you think you have a problem? But I can only lead a horse to water. I can't make it drink. So.
Yeah. I mean, I recently, January 5th, I've only drank twice since then.
Yeah.
Before that, I was about 15 to 20 beers a day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't I wake up in the morning and I got to have one. It's when I get home from work, I got to have one.
Got to pound one.
Yeah.
Yep. And pound two and then pound 10. And,
and then it's no issue functioning either.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's where I realized I had a problem. It's like I can function hammered.
Yeah.
Like
it's scary.
Yeah, and it's like I could get in the car, I could drive somewhere, and I could drive just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I living with such a high tolerance for this?
Exactly.
Like, what else is it destroying?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and one of the worst things for me mentally was I went to the doctor like on my normal checkup and completely honest with him how much I drank.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, your blood work looks fine, so you're not killing yourself. Some people just need to drink.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is not the right thing to say.
Yeah,
to a
exactly.
person like
Don't
me.
say, that.
So, because I mean, I was drinking so much since I was legally allowed to drink, and I was good at it.
Yeah.
Like, so this is one thing I'm really good at, so I'm going to do it.
Yep, exactly.
So that was the big problem, and that's the hard part with trying to get that in through my head is like, yes, you are really good at that, but it's nothing to be proud of.
Exactly.
Like, cool, you are an alcoholic. You're a real good one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for the longest time, it hit me that I didn't want to say those words. That hi, I'm Bill and I'm an alcoholic. But then it finally it sunk into my brain that you really are. It's like you need to look at yourself. You need to not just internalize everything that's happening. You need to get this shit out to people and actually be honest with yourself. So, and that's when I did, and I finally hit the brick wall, and I said, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, it's definitely been a hurdle for me. I'm sure eventually I'll be 100% sober, because every time I have any, it's not. I don't have it because I need it. I have it because it's a special situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, and the next day is like, that was not fucking worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, so it's almost to the point where it's like, I realize that I really like the person that I am sober.
Yeah.
That person is awesome.
Yeah, it took me for a while. It took a lot of people for a while to understand that, and that could be able to be around me and not understand that, oh yeah, Bill doesn't have to have a drink, or Bill doesn't need a drink. Because people still, for the longest time, hey, Bill, what kind of cocktail you need? Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing.
And I'd have people that would bring like drinks to me. I'm like, no, dude, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
It took me a long, and that's why I finally stopped going out like with people to like taverns and the bars and pubs, and I had to do that for a good 6+ months until I knew that I'd be able to step into one and not have somebody try to offer me something and give me something. And a lot of people, they know that I've told them, don't offer me anything. Just respect that. It's like, please respect that. And they finally clicked after a while. There's a few of them that I don't talk to anymore because they just wouldn't let up.
Yeah.
So it's like, yep, no, I don't need you in my life.
Yeah, no, it's anybody that can't respect your decision or what you want to do, they shouldn't be friends with you anyway.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of it was a lot of the ability for me not to drink anymore. And I know it's part of like the 12-step program is to find a higher power.
Yep, exactly.
And it was putting, not necessarily that God tells you shouldn't drink at all.
Yeah.
But it's a tool to celebrate.
Yep, exactly.
And people take that out of context and be like, find anything to celebrate for.
Yeah.
So religion has been a huge part for me. I mean,
good.
It's
awesome.
It's been massive in my life.
That's
good.
good.
I mean, there's so many different things that I want to do with religion now, and it gets me so excited.
That's good.
Nice. That makes a big difference with not wanting to drink, because I mean the alcohol and the porn and all that stuff. I mean that's all the devil.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the devil and his demons.
Unfortunately and it's rampant. Alcohol and any type of porn, it's rampant out there everywhere. It's like everything you look at, it's either alcohol related, porn related, or something of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like I was saying before with like the Facebook algorithms and stuff. It's like you'll sit there and you'll consciously watch religious videos of like a pastor for like 3 hours, and the algorithm will just give you video after video after video. But in order to get to that, the first reel you got to watch is some floozy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like why? Like why are you doing that to us?
Yep, exactly.
And we're men. I mean, we're dumb. Like when it comes to that, we're still primal. So it's, I mean, that stuff. If it gets your claws in it, it's more addicting than anything.
Yeah, it is.
So
that is true.
So that's been. I know that's a problem for a lot of people. They're too afraid. Like if you're afraid to admit that it's something you do on a regular basis, is it something you should really be doing?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's pretty wild. But no, it's amazing. I mean, you said 7.5 years sober?
Yep, 7.5 years sober so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you see for your future then? What do you got coming up?
Seeing more trips on the motorcycle, more enjoyment of time with Natalie, more enjoyment of time with my kids. I see a lot of positive things in my future. So, I mean, I know everybody has hurdles on things. Everybody has stuff they got to get through. Everybody has shit to deal with. So it's just dealing with everything as discreet as possible and dealing with all your stuff. That's why I tell people, for a while there, I've gotten rid of Instagram. I got rid of Twitter. I got rid of like the only two things I have now are Facebook and TikTok.
Yeah.
And Facebook, I used to have over 2,000 people on there that were friends of mine, but I chopped that down to like 415 people now.
Yeah.
Because it's, unless I talk to you on either a daily or a weekly basis, you're not on there.
Yeah.
And TikTok, I've got a problem with the TikTok shop.
Everybody that has TikTok says the exact same thing.
That's the only thing that I got my problem with, is the damn TikTok shop. Because I'll find stuff on there that is too good of a deal. It's like, okay, I got to buy that. But Natalie, she's been helping me with trying to make sure that I'm saving more and dealing and making sure I'm not doing the impulse buys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, I see things getting a lot better. So, yeah, for a while there, I've been through a lot of shit between like my early 20s to now. I've been through so much different stuff, not just in the military, but in civilian life. And it's just, now I see karma has finally hit a point of giving me back.
Yeah, instead of taking away. Yeah, that's that point for anybody is eye-opening.
Yes.
And unfortunately, not a lot of people even make it to that point.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
So it's, you gotta think you're doing enough good now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've did my due diligence on a lot of stuff, and it's finally coming back to repay. So, and that's where I see, like, with my job and with my kids now and with everything that has been just falling into place for me. I mean, everything has been falling into place for a reason, and I'm enjoying it and loving it. Yeah. So,
no, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So, and I really appreciate you sharing your story today.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It was a ride. It was something different than some of them. So you're a pretty damn stand-up dude, and I look forward to keeping up with you in the future.
Yes, definitely, we will.
All right. Well,
awesome,
thank you.
Man. Thank you.
Yep.
Every night coming through televisions. It's a revolution. I would rather die by electrocution than let them silence us or let them lie to us for one more day. This is retribution. Let them hate if they want to hate. Trust them, I say what I want to say. I ain't gonna fake it or run away. Face it, I'm unafraid. Take it on the chin like a man with his judgment day. We're the underdogs, we're the challengers on our worst behavior. We're the renegades, we're the vagabonds, we're our generation. We're the counterculture, we're the underground. Don't know what to tell you. Label us as your enemy, but we're the rebellion.